Okay, guys, I guess this is going to be another Tank Tuesday video. Starting off here is Titus, my red tail, his aquarium. Still, he is in the 75. Didn't used to be alone more. Well, I'll talk about that here in a second, but um, he is. Let me go ahead and see if it stays right there. It's been like auto. No, it's okay. Okay, so the tank looks murky. It's a tiny bit murky, but for the most part, it's just like the outside has it's like, I don't know. It's the outside's got some smudges and stuff on it. Like right in here, it's really. It looks like splashed water, but I couldn't really think what would necessarily splash the water. But anyway, Titus is right there. There's a little bit of crummy stuff down below that I am getting ready to take care of. I got a water change tube kit thing from Higer. I guess that's how you explain how you say it. I ordered the 50-foot one, but the nozzle is, let me see, I might be able to turn the light on and the tank not glare real bad. The nozzle is actually right here, the bottom, and I had to actually, you can see that it's kind of clear, you can see through it down there in the bottom. Well, there's supposed to be a ball valve down there that turns whenever you turn this. You know, that's supposed to close off the water to fill the tank up, and then right here opens that valve so it runs out and it creates a siphon and drains the tank. Well, that went on to the bottom of the siphon itself, right, like that. And I contacted them and I said this one was broke. I sent them pictures, and the dude was like, no problem, send me the tracking or the order number and we'll get you squared away. And he sent me a 25-foot replacement, which is fine. I mean, I have the 50-foot hose if I needed to. He didn't ask to return the old unit, but as soon as I seen this as the new one, and I seen how it was just a ball valve, see, like, I couldn't figure out how this would work, if it was like a butterfly valve, or if it was something more fancy, or if it was just a simple ball valve, because it's supposed to do some weird suction siphon thing, and I didn't know if this was special. But whenever I got the new one and found out that this was just a simple ball valve right there, I got this idea. And this is the top of the old one. That piece that I just had in my hand was right here. It threaded on. And we had bought this like 1-inch ball valve a few months ago for the water line. It was the wrong size for the PVC pipe. It was the right inlet, but the ID of this was the wrong ID of the OD of the other pipe, because you've got this is the female end. So we had to I ground the threads off of this black piece itself to where this ball valve right here would fit in it, and I PVC glued it in place, and well, find out how, figure out which way. There it is, and it does open, close, works just like the other one. So I do kind of feel bad that I got the company to replace the one, but they were super quick to respond and got me a new one in 3 days. So if you're wanting to look into like a Python type kit, the Higer, I recommend it. It seemed like it's a freak accident that you get one that's got a piece missing, and that might have even been shipping's fault because it was kind of damaged. The box was a little bit boogered up, so that might have been shipping deal. I don't know, can't tell for sure, but it was not in the box whenever I got the box. I even looked and didn't see anything. But anyway, this is Titus's tank. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the lights off again. It does glare. So 75 Titus tank, and if you can look at him, you will notice that his whisker, all 4 on the bottom and the 2 sides, are very short. That is because I wanted to have a feeder tank for him for feeder fish whenever he got big enough. I was wanting to have feeder fish for him, so I needed a tank for the feeder fish, and my brother had a 30-gallon that I was letting him use in his room, and he said, you know, that it kind of got boring to him after a little while, so I took it down and took the stand and put it in my room, took that fish tank, which was a little bit better built, and it is in my little sister's room because she was borrowing my other 30-gallon, so I switched the tanks. I took the stand. My brother does not have a tank in his room anymore, but if we go over here, past the gun cabinet, we have the new 30-gallon aquarium with, he's hiding in there, a little bluegill. There he is. Hey, buddy. Little bluegill about 3 inches long, 3.5 or something like that. And he was being bullied. They had been in a 30-gallon tank for a very long time. From pretty much whenever I caught them at the lake, I put them in a 30-gallon exactly this same size, and they seemed to get along just fine. Well, whenever I was switching out the tank and bringing the one that was in my sister's room into here, because this was the tank that was in her room, and I took the tank that was in Ethan's room, put it in there, and then this tank was in her room and I put it in my room, because it's a thinner, not as well made tank. The top glass kind of bows a little bit, and the trim's not really well put together, so it's an okay tank. It just, the lids don't fit very well for it, so I've got just 2 pieces of glass with a little 10-gallon, which is what that is right there. It's got all kinds of tank supplies and stuff in it. The lid, the lights for the 10-gallon, it's just a little too light, kind of cheap lid with just a little bitty feeder port right there. But it works just fine. It lights the tank up great, good enough for me to, you know, I'm fine with it. And this was going to be the feeder tank, but then I got this tank back from my friend she was borrowing it. I'd lend out a lot of fish tanks. Oh, there he is. He's kind of come out, and I think he's going to go back in. He's kind of hiding. She had got the lid and stuff. I'd let her borrow the tank, and the old lid, I guess it broke somehow. So she had bought a bunch of different stuff for it and a bunch of plants, and well, her fish kept dying. She couldn't keep fish in it alive, so she said, I'm done with tanks. You want to come and get your stuff back? I got some stuff for it. I'm not putting tanks in my house again. You can come and get it, and you can have all the stuff with it. So I got like a bunch of pumps, the lid, filter. Like, I got all kinds of stuff, which I think the filter was mine original anyway. But I fixed this up, and then I thought, well, he is not going to need a whole lot of feeders for quite a while. So I am going to make this here 10-gallon into the feeder tank. It's going to be bare bottom. It's going to do nothing but medicate fish and get them back up and going so they can be eaten by my catfish, my red-tailed Titus. But then this dude right here, as I mentioned, was being bullied after he went in to the tank with Titus. But as you can also see, Titus is bullied up too. That second bluegill, which is over in the 125 now in prison, soon possibly to be eaten by I don't care what eats it, plucked the barbels off of Titus, and it made me very mad. Now, he's not hurt. It probably might not have felt the best when it happened, but it's not long term. They will grow back in a couple weeks. They will not even look like they were damaged. But the fact of this tank being kind of dingy at all times, I put this massive sponge filter in, and this pump is straight just getting it, and it is a Pulaco, whatever. Actually, I can, right here's the box for it. It is the PA, it's the biggest of the PA series. I'm not sure. I don't know if it even says on it what size it is, but I think it's like a 500 or something. Anyway, it's the biggest that this here PA, which I don't understand. Oh wait, yeah, here it is. 402 Ms. model PA 402. There's like a 302 and a 202 and that kind of deal. And apparently it can also take 240 volts, which I did not know that. It runs, yeah, well, I'm not even going to pretend like you guys are too stupid to read. There you go, there's the information on it. 6.5 watts. And it is adjustable, and it's only like $20 ish. I can turn it down to completely off, and then that's almost as low as it'll go, and then that's full blast, which is what I've been keeping it on. This one can contain up to a 125-gallon tank. I got that because I'm going to run this to help keep this water clean. I used to have to replace the water every 3 or 4 days, otherwise it would turn a murky green. Now this stuff is not from Titus, it is actually from the bluegills. I removed them once I found out what they were doing. Because Titus stays hid, I couldn't tell his damage until after I was really trying to get some pictures of him, and I noticed it. And then I noticed the small bluegill was being beat up on, which leaves us to the 125 aquarium, which again I swear it's going to make the tank look terrible because of the lighting and the way that these phones work. Neither of these tanks, that tank comes across as clear, but that's just, I mean, it's crystal clear. This one has a slight cloudiness to it, and it comes through the phone as slightly green, and it's not. If anything, it's a teeny tiny bit yellow, and the depth, the deeper parts, like right there, that's a little scoshy bit yellow, but it is not green like the phone says it is. Or that's not green. It's just not. But like I said, that takes us to the 125. Jump over here. It's not terrible, but it is almost about the same quality color as the 75, and right there, barely in the light, because I've only got a 4-foot light on a 6-foot tank, which is why the 125 looks murky. But you can see right there is the little jerk bluegill that plucked the whiskers off of my catfish and also bullied up on the small bluegill, only after he was in the bigger tank. I don't understand it, but it just happened. There is Wallace just chilling right there. Catfish right there. There is Gil right there. And 2 more catfish, and they're just chilling. Freckle. I used to kind of feel bad for Freckle. In the means of she's back behind this thing, laying on her side. She has been for weeks. She's fine. Anybody that knows anything about Oscars is they pout, and she's just been hardcore pouting. And the reason why I say I don't care is because, oh, look at that big old set of jaws right there. Is I had her in 75 here. We keep coming back to the 75. And then whenever I got Titus, I put her in the 125. And she was being kind of bullied on, so I'll put her over here with Titus. Well, she kept doing that shimmy shake, like that territorial thing that they do to Titus. And I'm like, no, none of that. Cut that crap out. Well, then I started noticing that she was kind of making moves towards him, and he would be sitting down in this corner, just, vibing, and she would come over and lay on him. And he would move, and she would come over and pressure him there. And she started showing more signs of aggression, but I thought, okay, I don't know what necessarily territorial means, like what they look like. Then I saw her kind of swirl on him and kind of flare up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not taking the chances of her pecking him while I'm away somewhere and hurting him really bad. So I took her out and figured, if you're going to be a jerk to my small catfish, you can go ahead and try to be a jerk to my 3-foot long catfish, which the bullheads are, every one of them 10 to 12 inches long. And whenever I put her back in the 125, she went right back. She went right from bully mode to holy crap mode, and I'll be honest with you, I don't care. Um, if I had to decide where to keep her, she's staying in the 125, at least until Titus gets big enough to where he's got to be over in the 125, because she's not getting bullied, she's not getting beat up on at all. She comes up to eat, but then she goes straight back down because she's in a tank of big fish 3 times her size. But like I said, they're not attacking her, they just scare the crap out of her. And I honestly think that's kind of karma for her, so, you be mean to my fish, and you'll end up in a spot where you think you're probably going to get eaten every day. Here's the little culprit bluegill, looking like he's getting ready to try to square up on one of my catfish. Not smart. You're in there because you're probably going to get eaten by that guy, so keep it up. But yeah, everything in here is kosher. Wallace is down there. There's my bear. Wallace is right there. Gill right there. There's one of my catfishes. Gigantic dude. And there's the stupid thing again. I'll go ahead and zoom it back in some. But yeah, that's every one of my tanks plus one, because I added a 30-gallon in here. There should be a 4th soon, the feeder tank, once I find out where to put it. Might put it right here in between my speakers, where my fishing stuff is at. But yes, this is all. Oh, you big yawn! Did y'all see that big yawn? 125. Like I said, I promise it's not that murky. I am gonna have to get the next water change I do here soon. I'm gonna clean out. Where's my finger? Right there it is. I'm gonna clean this. That's actually a pond sump, like a pond filter. There's like a bio ball type stuff in there, along with a mesh and sponge type filter, or sponge filter, and like a cotton sheet, like a Joey, what he uses, or like a mesh. Anyway, that's a pond filter. It's supposed to filter like 250 to 300 gallon ponds. So it needs cleaned out, but it takes care of these messy catfish. But like I was saying, back over here, that thing is going to end up, once Titus gets big enough to be over there. This has all kinds of beneficial bacteria growing inside of it, and that is what's keeping the water from turning a greenish color, because once this food, if Titus doesn't eat as much food as I give him, which I normally give him 8 or 10 pellets, 12, something like that, and sometimes he eats every one of them, and I give him a little bit more, and he eats a little bit more, and then sometimes he only eats about 14 or so, and I give him about 20. And that used to get pushed underneath there by that flow, and I wouldn't see it, be able to get it out. And without the beneficial bacteria in the gravel, because there is none, it only stayed in this here filters, and there was not enough filter media to keep the bacteria, to keep this whole tank clean, apparently, with as much as I was having to feed him. And even I cut it down. I even cut back on the food, and for some reason it still would just turn murky. But this tank I have not had to change the water in it for, I think it's been going on like a week and a half, so it's doubled the time that it used to before it would start turning murky. And this thing probably isn't even fully established yet. It's going to have tons of bacteria in it. There is a bunch of surface area for beneficial bacteria to stick to these things. That's why a sponge filter is so good at filtration while also being ridiculously cheap. All you got to do is like once, maybe not even once a year, like maybe once every couple years, replace that sponge material and start it back over again. You might not even have to change out the sponge material. Just depends on how harshly you clean it, how aggressively you clean it. But yeah, that is all the tanks. 30 gallon sitting over top of my Punisher, or sitting underneath my Punisher sign. It's pretty cool. The little 10 gallon, it's going to become a feeder tank. Well, hospital tank. Oh, he is out. There he goes. But sorry, I know this video's long, but I don't know how else to really describe what happens to 3 tanks in 2 weeks, within an allotted small amount of time. I did just move this here kennel. You can't see it, but it's folded up right there. It sat in my floor right where I'm standing, and it is about 4 feet by 2.5 feet. And it was about 3 feet tall. So it was a very large cage in the middle of my floor for my puppy Rottweiler. And I kind of glimpsed at him a second in the last Tank Tuesday video, but it was dark, you probably couldn't see him real well. I guess we'll shoot for 30 minutes in this video, so think of something for 3 more minutes. If you don't want to watch it, just go ahead and click off of it if you haven't already at this point. But the Higer does come with a sliced little adapter that you can put in, and it's like a vacuum head. So you're sucking, but you're not getting that full. You're getting a much higher suction pressure, and it's just like a vacuum cleaner, like a underwater vacuum cleaner, like a pool cleaner vacuum. And I can suck up all of this stuff right here without taking much water out of the tank, and then reverse the gauge thing, the valve on the faucet itself, and it will stop pushing it out, and it will start forcing it through the tube, filling up the tank. Definitely recommend some form of a Python system. I was using a 5-gallon bucket, which is about 40 pounds of water, 43 or 44-ish pounds of water, and that is not fun. Having to lift 4 feet, it really is bad on the shoulders. But yeah, that's my tanks. Titus is doing great. He's not growing nearly as fast as I thought he would, but I also kind of expected that, because people say, oh, they grow massive and they grow fast. Every one of them will get within, it'll get to be 2 feet in a year, and some might, some probably do. I wouldn't doubt that, but a lot of them don't. So, I guess we'll just have to see. Right now he's about 5.5 or 6 inches long. I've got these. This is the 3 foot mark, 3.5 and 4 foot mark, and it goes all the way down the tank to just kind of judge based on him swimming around how long he is. And right now he goes from about here to about there. He's almost 6 inches long. Probably within another couple weeks he will be 6 inches long. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching, and I guess if you like this kind of stuff, like and subscribe. I'll do Tank Tuesdays more frequently if that's what you guys want to see, and On that note, I will see you guys in the next video. Later.